Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are doing another Historical Humans Reacts, and today we are not talking about something in the past. We're actually talking about the present, and we're talking about something that Australia is actually doing to try and make a better impression with their Aboriginal population, and they're trying to make a step in the right direction. I hesitate to use anything beyond that in terms of language, like trying to remedy the situation, but I think corrective action is a positive inkling. But do you want to just give us a rundown of what this is about? What am I talking about?
Yeah, sure. So this is a symbolic action by the government of, I believe it is New South Wales,
Yes.
a a, a part of Australia. This is a initiative by them to sort of symbolically begin to make amends with a lot of their Aboriginal communities, which are historically very disadvantaged and very discriminated against in Australia, just from the history of the nation as a British colony on up through the modern day. What they have decided to do is there is a rather large, excuse me, a rather large bridge that is one of their major landmarks. Uh, the
Well,
Sydney Harbour Bridge. Sorry, I had a bit of a frog there. Is the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and at the top of it, there are two flagpoles, one of which will now be permanently dedicated to flying the flag of the Aboriginal people of Australia. Historically, the flags on these poles have been one flagpole for the flag for the government of Australia and one for the flag of New South Wales, which is, of course, the local governing body, sort of like a state flag here in the States. Um, Occasionally, they would allow the Aboriginal flag to fly, but they have decided to replace the New South Wales flag with the Aboriginal flag permanently after a very extensive campaign by by the people of Australia.
I laugh because part of the campaign and part of what they had promised to do was to erect a new flagpole and fly the Aboriginal flag alongside the other two flags. But then the cost came out and the time estimate, it would take 2 years and cost $25 million Australian, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
instantly got a load of backlash
Oh yeah,
because
they
it's
were.
an absurd amount of money in an absurd amount of
Yeah,
time.
yes. The petition to have the flag added to the bridge has been going on hard for 5 years now, with over 170,000 signatures, just to get the government of New South Wales to consider the project and even propose their first change, which was wait 2 years and pay us 25 million.
Yeah.
Uh, this did not sit well with the Aboriginal people of Australia, particularly one of the leaders of this campaign, a Komalarori. I hope I say that at least close to accurately. A Komalarori woman, Cheri Toka, who has been sort of spearheading the charge for this symbolic change in the hopes that it leads to more permanent change. And for the most part, it seems her and her fellow Australian Aboriginals outrage seems to have led to some of that change because of what they're going to do with the $25 million. Like, you'd like to tell them that, Justin?
Oh, well, as a part of the deal, they're going to be spending the money on initiatives to reduce the disadvantages that the Aboriginals do face. And basically the whole reason it was supposed to cost so much was because of the complex work that was needed to install the new 6-story flagpole. But basically it turned out to be too much, too expensive, and just take way too long. So they decided, why are we doing this? Why are we making it such a hassle and wasting so much money when that money could be put to a better use and actually go back into the community to help those disadvantaged people that you were trying to now represent and make amends with?
Yes, yeah. So the final solution has been that the New South Wales flag will no longer fly on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. It will. It is instead looking for a new home at the moment, but officials have said that it will fly from some other iconic point in Sydney, so that it is not lost in its significance, and that the Aboriginal flag will permanently take its place on the bridge.
Good, honestly. It long deserved.
Yeah, it is. So 5 years for 25 million Australian dollars towards the community, and the flag on a pole over a city monument.
That's how you make good, reasonable change, though. Like, you actually have to do something. I
And
like
I,
that had a positive and wholesome turnaround.
yeah, and I will say that putting a flag on a monument doesn't seem like much, but it is a very simple act that can have a lot of major repercussions because it's on a monument. It's going to also now be incorporated on all the knickknacks and merchandise that are sold to tourists with that monument. People make little models of these bridges. They sell the little flags at the top. They do all sorts of things with this, and people will now see this flag and they will wonder what it is, and they will look it up. This is something I do when I'm on vacation or when I'm visiting a place. If I see something I don't know, I look it up. We got our little Google phones in our pockets, and now
Yes,
they're learning a little bit, and they're seeing. They're at least being made to think Aboriginal people.
I also think you're hitting on an important point, but I think you're missing the main point. I think the main point is the representation and the visibility that it gives to the Aboriginals. It gives a disadvantaged, often discriminated against, underrepresented population a site and a place in a very prominent location that shows that they are around and that they are there. And I really like the fact that it superseded the New South Wales flag because it puts a level of precedence over that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, definitely. It sets them up as being on par with the national government and effectively above what would be considered like the state government for New South Wales,
yeah,
which is very nice. And just I personally think that just people now visiting this monument are going to see that flag, and some of them are going to at least have to think for a few seconds that, hey, Australian Aboriginals,
yeah,
that's that flag. If that ends there, it ends there. But some of them might keep thinking about them existing, might go further down the rabbit hole, and awareness is important for these people, for any people or social movement to really get going, and getting on a major monument is a big deal.
it's a
This is
step in the right direction.
yeah, this is about the equivalent of the Empire State Building flying a Native American flag.
Yeah.
This is a big deal. This is a major monument that is doing this.
But on that lovely bombshell, I think this is a good point for us to wrap up. It was a very interesting article, and it's something that's very recent in history, and it's a huge monumental step. I mean, we are historical humans. We don't just focus in the past, we focus on modern historical moments as well.
Yeah, because if it happened yesterday, it's in history.
Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like down below. And if you want to see more of our content, be sure to subscribe or check out some of our other content, such as our HH Reads, our shorts, or even our main podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you all next week.